The wind up through the soles of my feet into my lungs you go, meditation of an ancient kind.
Hey guys, I was just about to leave here and I thought I'd speak briefly on a little video, a little thing, sorry, about the sacred secretion. And I wanted to mention the tree of life. Now the tree of life, that term gets a bad rap all the time because of Kabbalah, and I get that, that's fine, but that's not the tree of life I'm talking about. The tree of life in the Bible is first of all mentioned in Genesis, and when you have the tree of life you also have the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now fast forward to the very end of the Bible instead of the beginning, to Revelation, and you go to Revelation 22:2, I believe. It describes the tree of life, and it says, "Lo, I look upon a river, and on either side of the river is a tree of life, and the tree bears 12 fruits, one every month." So what are these 12 fruits, and what is this tree of life? Well, this describes the sacred cerebrospinal fluid coursing through your 33 vertebrae, and the 12 fruits are the 12 sacred secretions every year that you give birth to within yourself, or the Christ seed which is carried within there. Now it also says in Revelation, "Those that overcometh I give to eat of the tree of life." If you overcome your carnal mind and your lower nature, you will return the seed to the higher place within yourself, and you will get to eat of the tree of life, of the positive side of the tree of life. But there are two trees bearing fruits on either side of the river, because you can also choose to eat up instead of eat of, and eat up the tree of life, and you do that in debaucherous, riotous living. You burn it up by living immorally, making your body acidic. That's why gluttons and drunkards don't enter the kingdom, by having angry thoughts, by having too much emotion in what you're doing. All of these things will lead you to eat, in the lower sense, the fruit of the tree of life, and you don't want to do that. You want to overcome and eat from the place of overcoming and eat of the tree of life. You want to be nourished by it, because then you're present in the present moment and you dwell within Eden. Now if you eat of the knowledge of good and evil instead of eating of the tree of life, well, then you have a problem. Because what actually happens is, in your higher mind, you don't have concerns and worries about your environment around you. You just surrender your higher mind to the flow of God for your life, the flow of divinity in your life. Whereas, if you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the carnal mind will come, because the lower desires was always going to be the one who deceives you away from the tree of life and its beautiful seed and fruits. Because when you take a bite of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, you eat of the fruit in the lower sense. And when you do that, you drop into the lower mind, you start to have problems with being self-conscious, you start to have problems with immorality, lack of discipline, and you get kicked out of Eden for it, because you're no longer here in the present moment, free of your carnal mind. You see, we all want to eat of the tree of life, but what we don't want to do is eat up the tree of life in the lower desires. You don't want to burn the seed before it returns. You must be one that overcometh, and one who overcometh is one who manages to say no to the lower desires of themselves. And it doesn't mean you say no to them 100% of the time. It's not like that. It means they don't rule and govern your life. It means you don't base your life upon the idea that this weekend you're, like I used to, I'm going to get drunk and chase a girl and have some meaningless interaction with some random woman somewhere. When that is the focus of your life, you are eating of the knowledge of good and evil. You are eating up the tree of life, the fruit of the tree of life in the lower you, and your whole life is governed in that direction. Material nonsense. If you eat of the higher mind, the whole flow of your life will be governed towards the spiritual side of things. And that is what is described in Revelation 22:2. And to those who overcometh, God does give you to eat of that tree of life, and you eat this beautiful fruit which is the chrism within you. And it's not something you manipulate, it's not something that you try to have some profound and miraculous happening. It can't work that way. You know, God gave you certain mechanisms in your body. Now, if we eat food that's bad, we'll vomit and get sick. That's a mechanism he put in place to protect your body from eating poisons and stuff like this. That's a mechanism, so he doesn't have to watch over you all the time. He built a biomechanical mechanism in your body. You eat poisonous, horrible stuff, you vomit and you get rid of it as best you can. You get diarrhea, stuff like this. This is a biomechanical mechanism. If you behave in an immoral way and you are driven by your lower desires, he severs that, because he doesn't want you in your higher mind, because you're more powerful, you're more aware, you have more access to the ability to absorb information. But why should you have that and express lower qualities? So there's a biomechanical mechanism within you, which is the sacred secretion, that sees this person's vibration clearly matches someone who's been angry, who's been overeating, who's been getting drunk all the time, who's sexually immoral. I'm not going to give them access to the higher mind. And thus, this biomechanical, metaphysical anatomy of your prayer, this secretion which severs, this is God's way of stopping you from entering Eden when you're poisoning yourself with thought and deed. Just as there's a constant function in your body to vomit out poison, there's a constant function within your body to stop you going into the higher mind, because those who dwell in the higher mind are very efficient. They are very, very efficient. And if you could then transfer that efficiency into someone who's expressing the lower nature of yourself, then that's a very bad thing for the planet. And unfortunately, our intelligence has got to the point where, despite the fact that this mechanism pulls us out of our higher self, there are certain persons on the planet who can use money, who can use that side of life, the physical side of life, to be able to express their lower nature in very powerful ways on the planet. But in a natural flow of things, it's not something you can manipulate and trick and overcome in that way. You have to overcome and eat of the tree of life. You have to eat the fruit by overcoming. You have to. And if you don't overcome, you won't eat the fruit. And you will eat up the fruit in the lower nature. And you won't get to embrace the higher qualities, the higher mind. And that's what God placed in every single man on this planet, and woman, of course. So aim for righteousness 100% of the time. Overcome as best you can, and God will give of you to eat the fruit of the tree of life. The Christ seed will return, and at the 33rd vertebrae, as Christ was crucified at 33, so too you will crucify that precious fruit of the tree of life, and you will open up the dormant aspects of yourself to the higher mind, and thus you can continue to spread the word of God on this planet, the love of God on this planet, and that which is morally correct and driven by the Spirit and not the flesh. Love you guys. Bye. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, as it really helps us to grow the channel and with it help more children here in Tanzania. Also, don't forget you can support our work by sharing with children in crisis here, be it sharing for a particular need or even sharing one-on-one support for education, housing, food and medical care. It can be done for as little as the cost of a cup of coffee a week back in the West after all. Just visit www.sharetanzania.co.uk to find out more. Lastly, remember you can also support us via Patreon, www.patreon.com/featherstail, and help keep us here in Tanzania to continue our work. The links for the website and for the Patreon are in the description box of this video. Love and light, guys. See you soon.